pursue a successful healthcare career at one of the largest and most advanced medical facilities in the country? If so, look no further. The U.S. Army is here. Visit goarmy.com/AMEDD to learn how you can serve soldiers, their families, military retirees, and at times the general public while providing meaningful service.
Good morning and welcome back to the AMEDD Effect Podcast, where we discuss the causes and effects of Army medicine opportunities, along with readily available resources for military families on Army installations. The month of October is recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and today on episode 4 of the Army Life segments, I am going to spend a little bit of time with the U.S. Army Family Advocacy Program to discuss their services that they provide to military families. The Family Advocacy Program service includes seminars, workshops, counseling, and intervention to help strengthen Army families, enhance resiliency and relationship skills, and improve quality of life. Today, I have the ACS specialist, Mr. Joshua Rodeheaver, here to give us more insight on the program. Good morning, Josh. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Willie. You know, it's October, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're real busy over at the Family Advocacy Program with Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Uh-huh.
So we've got a bunch of events we've had going on all over Post, and then we've got a bunch of social media campaigns going on as well.
Oh, okay. Okay, so before we get into everything that you all have going on in the month of October, could you please tell the listeners and the viewers a little bit about yourself and an overview of the Family Advocacy Program, which is what you all call FAP, and its role in supporting military families?
Yeah, certainly. So I actually was medically retired from the Army in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to school. I got a master's degree in public health.
Okay.
With a concentration in epidemiology. So from there, I applied and got the position here at Fort Knox as the ACS specialist. And then I was put into the Family Advocacy Program as the trainer. So I'm the person who's responsible for going around Post here and delivering training to the soldiers, the command teams, the MPs, daycare staff, about how to recognize different forms of abuse and how to go ahead and report those when we need to.
Okay, now we just recently had Miss Shannon Wilson on episode 3 of the Army Life, of our Army Life segments, and she came in and she gave us an overview of the Army Community Service and all of the amazing programs that are available to families on military installations. Let's talk about one of those programs, which is your new parent support service program. And this program bridges the gap between social support systems, Army life among expecting parents, soldiers, and soldiers with children that are 3 and under. What specific services does the new parent support service program provide to new parents?
So the new parent support program is fantastic. I can't talk good enough about it. It's one of the greatest things that we have over at the Family Advocacy Program.
Uh-huh.
And so the new parent support program offers a wide variety of services and assistance to families with new additions, right? So it's not just for people with expecting children. It's anybody who gets married into a family that has kids under 3, anybody who has a child after having children. So it's not just for expectant families, it's for anybody who's got a child 3 and under. So, we've got a lot of people in the military who, we've got blended families. So they attain or they have children that are under 3 and, they need those parenting skills sometimes. So
Right.
Our new parent support program, like I said, it's fantastic. So one of the greatest things that they can do is they do home visitations. So let's say, picture this, right? We got a family with a new baby at home. Kiddo's been crying constantly, right? Nobody, not baby, not parents, nobody's gotten any sleep, right? So they can call up our new parent support program and they can head out and do a home visit. They can hold baby, they can give parents a rest. We can provide resources and instructions on feeding, lactation, safe sleep, pediatric head trauma, foundational parenting skills, and protective factors that we share through Army-approved curriculums.
Oh, okay. That is very nice. So new parents who are new to having children, they can also reach out to you guys like, hey, I need a little bit of support. You guys can come out and provide that support to those new parents.
Exactly.
That's an amazing job. Let's go ahead and give a round of applause to our FAP program for being able to supply new parents with that service. a part of being in a soldier in the military is traveling to new duty locations within the United States, within the United States and outside the United States. Being a new parent away from family and the support system, tell us, how does the new parent support service program help alleviate the challenges faced by new parents in a military environment?
Yeah. So again, people join the military, they pick up, they go to that new installation. You don't got family around. Maybe you don't have those social support systems that are built in place there. Well, the Army has done a great thing, and it's provided you that with the new parent support program. So, you pick up, you move to a new installation, you have a new kiddo. You don't have that family support that's local, so we need to figure out how we can establish those social support systems. So our new parent support program, it does just that. We've got our community play groups that allow for parents to come out and have that sort of social connection, that building sort of community sense there. And then it also allows, like I said, those home visitations are going to be big. And we also do a lot of community outreach events as well. So for new parent support, over at the Family Advocacy Program, we've got 2 promotional months that we really go hard with, right? We've got our Domestic Violence Prevention Month or Awareness Month. That's October. That's this month. And then we've also got Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is April. So in April, our new parent support program takes the lead there and plans out entire events for all the posts. Last April, we actually had a large event over at the Hansen Center called our Baby Expo, where we had community partners from outside the gate, inside the gate. We had about 60 or so come out and offer resources, items, things like that, just to know that what services are available out there for new soldiers coming to the installation.
Okay, now you talked about having some of those workshops that some of the parents can come to, kind of like building that community. What does those workshops look like? What are they? What all do they consist of, I guess I should say?
Yeah, so we're getting our new baby classes up off the ground. So we've got things like infant CPR. We've got other things that are about feeding, about safe sleep. That again, safe sleep, I can't hammer home hard enough. That's a big one here, alone on your back in the crib. That's what it is. Same room, but baby needs to be alone on their back in the crib. I'm just going to take that moment to plug that. But yeah, so we do a lot of those things. We've got classes that happen at ACS. We've got our own training room over there. And again, we have partners all over post so that we can go and pair with other organizations to offer different sort of classes in those locations. So let's say if we were going to the library and we wanted to do a class on how to pick good books for kids, right? Well, we can do that at the library, and we can go around and pick some ones that are age appropriate out. So that's something that we can do as far as partnering with the community to build that into our community, because that's the goal, is to build this coordinated community response to address this domestic abuse.
Definitely great services being able to go over to the library. I know the library on Fort Knox at one point in time was like the #1 library across military installations. So definitely a good opportunity to get out there, get some good material for the kids that are growing up. Now, as I was doing some research, I saw that you all host a Parents' Day or a Parents' Night Out. Now, do you all coordinate with your Child Youth Services program to provide those services? And just talk about that night out or that day out.
Yeah, certainly. So our Parents' Night Out or Parents' Day Out, it's a service that we offer through Family Advocacy Program. There's other avenues through Child Youth Services that do that as well. So it's not just the Family Advocacy Program, but it is one of our initiatives that we push forward because, again, family cohesion, making sure everybody's got that time. We want those relationships to build healthy. So by giving parents time to go out and do these things, outside of work hours, on the weekend, those things are going to give parents and soldiers and their families some time to go out and have that time to themselves. So, that respite care, that those offers, they're every so often they come through. It's not all the time, but we do have certain times of the year where they're more available. And those are services that are offered at every FEP across the Army. So
okay. Now, how long would a Parents' Night Out or a Parents' Day Out last for those who are listening to this episode?
So for the day out, it's a full day of daycare. So it's, from whatever the beginning is, whatever, like 7:30 to however closing is. So 1600 typically. For the night out, they do a little bit, maybe 3-4 hour windows for that. But again, it can change depending on staffing needs and other things like that. So you'll just have to check back in. And again, your kiddo has to be enrolled with the Child Youth Services to be able to qualify for those programs. And so once they're qualified, they're enrolled, there's a lot of information that gets pushed out when they're available.
Okay. Now, FAP offers a range of seminars, workshops, and resources for military families, including both prevention and intervention strategies. Talk about the wide variety of programs that you all offer that focus on education, family team building, and relationship strengthening.
Yeah. So over at ACS, I know you spoke with Shannon Wilson on one of the other episodes. I'm pretty sure she talked about our A programs with the Army Family Team Building, Army Family Action Plan. So those are going to be involved with our Family Advocacy Program. Because the great thing about being over there with ACS is that we're plugged into all those resources. So we've got our financial readiness program that if we're having any sort of hardship loans or any sort of needs like that, we can reach out to them. We've got our A programs so that if we have someone who is engaged with Family Advocacy Program and they would like those additional services, we can just go right over there and figure that out. So yeah, for that, it's as far as the training and seminars go, there is that annual requirement for all soldiers to receive training on domestic abuse, just recognize, reporting, how to know what's going on, and to build those competencies up so that we can have a force that's, understanding what domestic abuse looks like so that they can report and make interventions when they need to. So these trainings are going to look like, those are going to be, standard Army trainings, big groups, long time, lots of talking,
Right.
big stuff. But for the other ones, the smaller classes that we have, they are smaller. Like our infant CPR class, we have different sort of tools at the Family Advocacy Program that allow us to educate for like infant CPR and things like that. We also have, this was a fun thing we found was we had a pregnancy simulation belly over there. So we can do empathy classes. It's called the Empathy Belly. So we can have soldiers and their spouses come out, they put that on, try it out, they have a little bit of connection.
Okay.
So it's less of, it's educational, but it also is sort of that building up of our support systems.
Okay, now let's talk about you. And I may be saying this wrong. I don't know if it's DAVAs or do you all call it DAVA? How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, so our domestic abuse victim advocates, we call them our DAVAs.
DAVAs. Okay.
Yeah. So, or just the victim advocates.
Just the victim advocate. Okay, so talk about how your DAVAs are. Talk about what DAVAs are and how their services are beneficial for soldiers and families dealing with domestic abuse. I know we talked about this month being Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So if you could just talk about how they are beneficial for those soldiers and families.
Yeah, so our DAVAs, like our new parent support program, fantastic resource, all right? Our DAVAs are equipped to do the interventions. They do the safety planning. They are there to receive reports of abuse. Our victim advocates are really well-versed. They're credentialed. They go through a rigorous credentialing process. The Army has them go through training, and they're very well-equipped. So our DAVAs are able to do that sort of liaison work with victims. So if we have someone who comes forward to make a report or to seek help, they can receive those restricted reports as well. And again, and we'll talk that in a minute about different kinds of reporting options. But our victim advocates, they're plugged in with everything. They have 24/7 access to DAVA services. That's our phone numbers, that's our phone lines. We have a couple different numbers because we have people that are during the duty day there, but we also have a 24/7 number for victim advocacy services. And we also they do some education regarding reporting options. They do crisis intervention, safety planning. They are able to assist in obtaining military or civilian protective orders. They can assist in finding shelter. They can do safety moves, expedited transfers. There's a fantastic program called transitional compensation that they move forward the paperwork for. And then they do other support as needed. They can accompany adult clients to court, and they can do other things like that.
So would you put some of those services in that round the clock service that you all provide on and off garrisons?
Oh, yeah. So whenever we have victims that are in civilian court, they have to have escorts or they need someone there to make sure that everyone is safe and that everybody gets to where they need to go. So our victim advocate is actually that person who accompanies civilians to civilian court for protective orders and other sort of hearings for these family advocacy issues.
Okay. Now, you talked about that there were two ways to report domestic abuse. So talk about your restricted and unrestricted and explain the difference between the two options.
Yeah. So we've got two reporting options. We've got our restricted reporting option and we've got our unrestricted reporting option. Now, at any point, our restricted option can turn unrestricted, but cannot go the opposite direction. So for that to be the case, for the restricted option to be available, there can be no third-party involvement. Nobody can know outside of it. And then you'll have to make that report to 3 different roles on post. So there's only 3 people on post who can receive those restricted reports. And those are going to be medical providers. Either that's a medical doctor or a behavioral health provider. And you're going to have your victim advocate. They're also one of the ones that can receive those restricted reports. And then you're going to have the supervisor of the victim advocate, which is typically the Family Advocacy Program manager. So those are the 3 individuals who are going to be able to receive restricted reports if you need to make those. Now, through a restricted, or let's talk about unrestricted reporting. Right?
Okay.
So unrestricted reporting, we're going to have access to those victim advocacy services. We're going to have access to criminal investigation. We're going to have access to forensic evaluations. We're going to have safety planning available, access to medical care services, any sort of response, treatment that's needed. Those people are going to have those available, right? And additionally, through unrestricted reporting, we're going to have command involvement, and we're also going to be able to have law enforcement involved as well. So that's going to allow us to have investigations go on, collect evidence, figure out what's going on. Now, for our restricted report, it's going to have access to everything else that the unrestricted report had, except for that command involvement and law enforcement involvement. So everything is sort of kept private. That our victims, they have anonymity in these situations. They have a little more control because we want to give our victims more power back. So that's the goal with having those reporting options available. You know, if someone doesn't want everybody to know the business, they can get on that restricted reporting option and still have access to safety services, planning, and things like that.
Now, I see you have this cool little card here. Can I see this right
Yeah.
here? Do you all give these out to people who come by your office as well?
Oh yeah, everywhere we go, we hand those out.
And these out. Okay, so these people can kind of look and see, hey, this is the way that I report, and here's the phone number where I can report to. So
Exactly.
good card to have. If you guys see this, make sure you pick one up. That way you just have it on hand for yourself or to pass along to somebody else. And just to have that knowledge is just good. Anyway, you also spoke about military protective order and civilian protective order. Now, what are the difference between those two?
So military protective orders, you know, they really do service the family. They're able to give everybody sort of like a cool down period so that if there is something going on, we can make some intervention and make sure that everybody is safe. And that's the ultimate goal of the Family Advocacy Program, is to make sure that everybody is safe and happy and linking people up to resources. So for military protective orders, that's going to be put out by your command team, or your commander, or however that goes about. And then for civilian protective orders, you know, this is going to be on the other side of the house. So that's going to be through civilian court agencies. That's going to be initiated through either, you know, a victim seeking services, or our victim advocate can assist in helping get those filed.
Okay. Now, and you can say if you can't speak about this, that's fine. But let me ask you this: as a victim advocate specialist, when there is a great safety concern and the victim of an active duty spouse wants to relocate because of safety issues, how can you all help them relocate? Or do you all help them relocate? And if so, how?
Yeah, so that is, again, one of our big functions there is making sure that everybody stays safe. So if we have someone who is disclosing that they need to leave that situation or that is unsafe for them, we can link up with that person and we can get them to where they need to go. Like I mentioned, we're over there with ACS, so if we have to have some sort of emergency funding, we've got that financial readiness program that's right there to step in and give out whatever funding we can to go ahead and get that person placed in a safe environment. Now, we also have a few memorandums of understanding with local resources outside of the community. So there is the local domestic violence shelter down in Elizabethtown called Spring Haven, who we partner with them, and so we are able to get services for victims in that way.
Okay, definitely good. Yeah, I've heard of Spring Haven before. I think they do a lot of, it's either them or is it Silverleaf?
So Silverleaf is the sexual trauma unit.
Okay, yeah, I know that they do some promotions or do some advertising here on Post too, so I see it all the time. But then you just see them out there in Elizabethtown as you're riding around too. So definitely see them. Now, we spoke about the month of October being one of your big months where you guys do a lot, you highlight a lot, and this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And ACS programs on military garrisons, they host different events to highlight domestic violence awareness. This year, Fort Knox is doing the Chalk Walk event. Can you explain to our listeners what this event looks like?
Yeah, so Chalk the Walk is fantastic. It's great. We've got soldiers, we've got workers, we've got everybody out there finding any sort of bare chalk sidewalk that they can cover with supportive messages for anybody who would be experiencing domestic violence, or really anybody ever, just to let everybody know that, you know, people are out here. If they need help, give us a call. You know, everybody deserves love, and, you know, love shouldn't hurt. So that's what we're out here trying to do.
I've seen an event before. They did a walk in my shoes event, and I think they had some of the male soldiers wear the heels just to kind of say, hey, take a walk in my shoes, just to kind of get a better understanding. So I know that I see a lot of cool different events that you all did, programs do, the ACS programs or FAP programs do to promote Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Another thing that we do here on Fort Knox, I'm pretty sure across on all installations, is on the 25th of October is Wear Purple Day. Talk about Wear Purple Day and what does wearing purple signify?
So Wear Purple Day is a national event, right? It's where everyone wears purple to show that we're standing and united against domestic violence. So it is support so that people are aware that, help is out there. People do care. So if there is someone who's experienced any sort of domestic violence, you can reach out for help. We're there. And that's what we want to show with that Wear Purple Day, is that we are all here to assist in preventing and intervening in domestic violence.
Military One Source. This is something that I heard Ms. Wilson, she mentioned time and time again when we were speaking to her. What is Military One Source, and how is it beneficial for soldiers and their families? I went onto the website. I see a lot of different things on there, but what are some things that relate to the FAP program that are out there?
So Military One Source is a great resource. It has self-paced learning, online modules. Soldiers and their families can access them 24/7. So as long as somebody wants to go ahead and get on there and get some information, by all means, go for it. I will say it is, no, I'm not going to say that. But, so Military One Source, we just got a bunch of resources about how to identify and recognize what abusive behaviors are. And so on larger installations, Fort Knox, we're kind of small. So we don't necessarily have the FAP specialists or educators out here that can do the classes all the time. So with Military One Source, it supplements that by creating that online access anytime resource that soldiers can use, from the comfort of their own home on their phone if they'd like to. So Military One Source, like I said, there's tons of resources on there. And what is great about it is that you could actually find a post locator. So if you are experiencing any sort of domestic violence or anything that you would need to reach out for help with, Military One Source actually has a post locator function on there where you can find a victim advocate if you need to get one.
Now, does that post locator, if you are Army, will it only send you to a Army location, or will it send you somewhere, a location that's close by, whether that is Navy, Air Force, whatever?
So you can break it down by branch. So if you want Army installations, it'll find those. If you want Navy ones, you'll get those. But you can break it down.
Okay. Now, before we get you out of here, is there anything else that we did not cover that you, as a family advocacy specialist, is there anything else that you would like to leave our listeners with before you get out of here?
I just want to let everybody know that the Family Advocacy Program is out here to serve soldiers and their families. We're here to link everybody to services. We're here to make sure that everybody stays safe. And, I want everybody to know that if you're going through anything or you're having any sort of struggles or anything like that, help is out there. We are here. If you need to call the Family Advocacy Program, by all means, do so. If you don't feel comfortable reaching out to a victim advocate or anything like that, we have community partners that we work with religious services, with the military family life consultants. There's lots of different avenues to find help if you're experiencing any of these situations in the military.
Now, if somebody wanted to find more out about FAP, where can they? Are there any Facebook pages, any social media where they can go to just to kind of follow, keep up with everything that you all have going on?
Oh yeah, well I would be remiss if I didn't do the shameless self-plug of the Fort Knox ACS Facebook page. Please get on there, go ahead and follow that. You'll find a bunch of information about Fort Knox and other information like that. But yeah, we also use our Fort Knox Army Garrison website, has a lot of information about the Family Advocacy Program, as well as the Army MWR website for the entire Army. They'll have all the resources that are available and what the Family Advocacy Programs stand for and what they do on those sites. As well as if you wanted to get onto the Army's Department for Prevention site, they've got some FAP resources there as well. And again, Military One Source is going to be a great resource for any sort of information that you'd like.
Okay, well, Mr. Rodeheaver, I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day, coming over here to the AMEDD Effect to talk to us about the FAP program and everything that you all offer to military families here on the installation. If you guys out there are watching this, make sure that you follow the ACS Facebook page, make sure that you get onto the Military One source, check out all of the resources that they have available that you all can utilize as well. And don't forget, you can always reach out to one of their community partners or somebody within the ACS program. That is all that we have for you all today. Again, Josh, thanks for coming over. We really do appreciate this, and I think that this information will help those individuals who are looking to join the military but may not know too much about some of the other things that they have. So that's what we like to do here, is talk about some of the other programs, talk about some of the other opportunities that families will have once they are actually a green suitor. So thank you. We do appreciate that.
No, thank you all for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. The causes and effects of Army medical opportunities are endless. When you join the U.S. Army Medical Department, not only will you get more out of your medical career, but you will also provide meaningful service to soldiers, their families, military retirees, and last but not least, your country. To learn more about AMEDD, visit goarmy.com/AMEDD. That's goarmy.com/AMEDD. And if you're looking for information on tuition assistance, visit goarmy.com/HPSP. That's goarmy.com/HPSP.